A few warnings before we get into this video. First off, if you are sensitive to certain subjects, especially those that typically end up centered around like depression, maybe don't watch this because I will briefly touch on stuff like that. Also, if like you're new to my channel, and you weren't here while I was gone for a year, then I guess you can watch this video, but it kind of means nothing to you. And then also, if you're just in a good mood, maybe don't watch this because it might get a little depressing at some points. And if you don't want your good mood ruined, maybe don't watch this. Also, I'll touch very briefly on somebody you might know. I won't mention names, obviously, but if you're somebody who knows somebody that I end up non-naming talk about in the video, don't say anything to them, you know, because we'll get into it, don't worry. But with those warnings out of the way, hello. Yeah, it's been over a year since I last uploaded, and I feel like anybody who like followed my channel at least even a little bit kind of deserves to know why. Right now you're getting a dumbed down version of what I already recorded last night, but what I recorded last night, I went way too detailed with it. It was really depressing, really sad, and so I'm just gonna kind of give you a condensed version. So for you to understand why I was gone for so long, I need to kind of set up a scenario. So back in the spring of 2019, I was having a lot of financial issues that basically stemmed from the fact that I wasn't uploading to YouTube enough. When it comes to content creation online, especially if you do like YouTube and Twitch, for Twitch and anything else outside of YouTube to thrive, you have to upload to YouTube. That's just the way it works. And due to a massive lack of motivation to upload to my channel, I just wasn't. And without uploading to YouTube, all of my other social medias were starting to die off, and thus my ability to support myself with the money that I do make online was starting to dwindle, and I was very, very, very stressed out. So I reached out to a friend in the community to ask for some help or advice, just something, because I knew that they knew like what they were talking about. I knew that they had the best advice for me. And of course, when I reached out to them, they basically told me exactly what I kind of already knew, was that I needed to get my YouTube kickstarted again. No matter the demotivation and all that stuff, I needed to get YouTube kickstarted again. Or else I was gonna have to like quit and go get a real job, which does not work well for somebody who's as mentally unwell as I typically am. So on top of giving me that advice, telling me what I already knew, they threw out the proposition that if I were to upload 3 times a week for 3 months, starting in April and going until July, that they would personally pay for my travel expenses to go see my significant other, who I was with at the time and had been with for 2+ years. And in that 2+ years, we had never had the chance to go like see each other. So, you know, it was a win-win. I get my YouTube kickstarted and get the ball rolling again there, and then eventually on all of my other socials, and then I also go get to see my significant other. And so you might have noticed there was a point in spring when I was uploading 3 times a week. I was pumping out videos like crazy, and the views kind of started to roll back, and things were going kind of good. But then at the end of May, I basically had like the worst week of my life. So it started when my significant other at the time decided to break things off with me. And for those of you who know who my significant other was at the time, please don't like go say anything to them. We're on good terms now, and it was so obvious that like the reason that they broke things off with me was almost solely because I was not living up to what I needed to be in terms of a significant other for this person. In short, I was being a dickhead for a long time and showing no signs of changing, and I forced their hand, basically. It was my fault. I'm the reason that they dumped me. You know, like I said, I've grown a lot in the last year. We're good now, so don't reach out to them. Don't say anything to them if you know who it is. If you don't know, cool, good. You don't need to know. It doesn't matter now. So, but yeah. So that happened. After the fallout of them deciding to break things off with me, I decided to try to reach out to one of my buddies. See, I don't have a whole lot of IRL emotional support, especially when it comes to the relationship side of things. My grandparents are really old-fashioned, so they would just give me old-fashioned advice like, oh, it's just a girl, or there's plenty of fish, or you'll be fine. Like, you know, the typical old people stuff. I know they do their best. My grandparents are great, but that's the kind of thing they always fed me when it came to things like that, and that's not what I needed to hear at that point. So I knew I couldn't reach out to them. I also couldn't really talk to my mom, just because she kind of crumples in those kind of situations. I love my mom, like, she's great, but she's kind of a lot like me, where she just kind of like crumbles into a ball when she hears things like that and is like, I don't know. So I couldn't reach out to my mom either. So I only had one bit of emotional support IRL, and that was my buddy. So I texted him, and I got no response from him, and I figured maybe he was busy or something. Terrible timing to be busy, but that's just kind of the way it was. So then the next morning, after finally managing to fall asleep somehow because I was an emotional fucking wreck, I woke up to a text from him saying that he was going to be admitting himself to rehab, which obviously explains maybe why he wasn't answering my text the previous evening. I'm glad that he did go, and he bettered himself, and he's doing a lot better now. He's great. I'm proud of him. But at the time, that was that was the worst possible time for that to happen. Less than 12 hours after my significant other of 2+ years decided to break things off with me. So for a good little while, I was just kind of forced to sit in my room and kind of let things like fester, and that really didn't do wonders for my mental health. So those two things, the getting broken up with and the him going to rehab thing, that happened on a Tuesday and a Wednesday respectively. The following Sunday, we had been having a lot of rain in my area, to the point that we were starting to have some pretty bad flooding. You might have, I touched on this in the fajita video. That's such a weird thing to say, but in the fajita video, if you watch the fajita video, which I don't blame you if you didn't, because it's fucking weird, but in that video, I touched on the flooding and everything that was going on, but I'll cover it real briefly here. So basically, yeah, it was raining, we were getting flooding, and our house is really close to a river. So the river levels started rising, and eventually it started reaching our neighborhood, and we had to evacuate our house. And the problem with having to evacuate is, one, we're taking all of our belongings out of our home and moving them to higher ground, like up here on the second floor, or at a relative's place, like up the street, and it happens to be up a hill, you know? But the big thing comes with the fact that our house has already been hit by a flood within like the last like decade. I think it was like a little over 10 years ago, maybe 12, something like that. Our house has already been hit by a flood. We had to take out a massive insurance thing to be able to renovate the lower half of our house, so that we had a place to live. So we ran out of money doing that, and we don't have insurance on the house. So a flood happening again basically would have meant that we'd be fucked. We'd be homeless, you know? So we evacuated, we moved all of our stuff to higher ground, and we ended up staying with a relative across town, and just kind of sat and waited to find out if we were going to be homeless. And it didn't happen, which is good. But, you know, getting broken up with, and then your only IRL emotional support sending himself off to rehab for God knows how long, and then your house almost getting destroyed and almost becoming homeless, it doesn't really, that's not a good combo. That definitely was like the worst week of my life. And God, even talking about it, it's just like, it's such a bummer, dude. Like I hate it. Another quick warning, this is where it's going to get a little bit dark. So, you know, if you didn't back out yet, you back out now. If you're sensitive to topics, don't keep watching from this point. Or if you're in a good mood, you know the drill. You know the drill. So yeah, having the worst week of my life did a massive number on my mental health, and I was just fucking awfully, massively, horribly depressed. Like, I did not know, I almost nearly forgot what it felt like to even be happy. Like, it was like all positive feelings had been just completely wiped from me as a person. And I talked to some friends online about how I was feeling, and, you know, there's only so much that people, you know, long distance can really do. I mean, I appreciate the people that like talk to me and help me out during that, but like, you know, there's only so much they can do. And so not a lot was really impacted in terms of making me feel better. And so I decided I'd try to drown myself in a little bit more work, which is why even after that fajita video, there was still videos going up on the channel. I barely remember those videos. I remember there was like a shiny video and then like a BuzzFeed video, but that whole time for me was such a blur because of how horribly depressed I was, and I can't even go back to those videos because I know just how fucking awfully depressed I was in them. I can tell the tone of those videos is just so off. You can kind of tell that like my heart isn't in it, and I'm clearly just doing the content for the sake of having content, and it sucks. I hate it. I hate those videos. I might take them down. I don't know. But, you know, yeah, I just tried to drown myself in a little bit of work, and it didn't help. Because, you know, duh, like, does that really ever work for anybody, drowning yourself in your work? Like, come on. So that didn't help, and talking to people didn't help, and having no IRL emotional support, just things got worse. And I was having a lot of suicidal thoughts, doing a lot of suicidal things. I'm not going to go into too much detail because that's what I did in the first recording of this. But just know that suicide was very much on the table for me at that point, in multiple facets and fashions, as was drinking to kind of numb the pain, which some of you might recall in old videos I talked about how I started this channel. Well, I didn't start this channel because of that, but I started uploading more frequently to this channel because I had gotten out of rehab for drinking because of depression, and I needed some kind of like coping mechanism to just like funnel something into, and that's how I started uploading to this channel. So I really didn't want to hop onto that boat again, but goddamn, it was tempting just for how horribly fucking depressed I was. And let me say again, by the way, that this is no fault of anyone but really my own. Obviously, I couldn't control the flood, and I couldn't control, you know, my buddy needed to go to rehab. But the main factor why I was so depressed was being broken up with. So please, again, do not go reach out to this person. I implore you, just don't say anything to them if you know who it is. Seriously, like, we're on good terms. It's in the past. I'm fine now is the thing. It's definitely a bummer having to talk about this because, you know, that whole period of my life just fucking sucked. But I'm fine now. Like, I don't ever think about my former significant other really anymore. I don't really dwell on those feelings too much anymore. Sometimes, you know, sometimes you can't help but remember that and get a little sad, but it's not something that like plagues me to this day anymore. Like I said, I did like a lot of growing in the over a year since that happened, and I've done a lot of self-reflection and trying to better myself, and you know, I feel like I'm definitely in a better place now for sure. So I mean, that's good, you know? So, yeah, don't worry about me. I'm fine. They're fine. There's no need to, like, really reach out to them. But yeah, I've been doing a lot in the last year also to better myself. This is where the video is going to get positive now, by the way. The main reason I wasn't uploading to YouTube was because of being demotivated and depressed for like a good stint of time. But then in another section of time was actually some good stuff that was happening. So my buddy is a tattoo artist, and we had made plans to open up our own tattoo shop before he, you know, had to go off to rehab. And after he came back, I gave him a little bit of time to readjust to real life again. And after that, we finally started getting things kicked into gear to get our own tattoo shop opened. And it took a lot of planning and a little bit of like planning out renovations and stuff for our location, and like designing branding and paperwork and all that stuff. But in the few months that it took to get, God, it seriously took months to get that shit going. But we finally did it, and my buddy and I actually opened our own tattoo shop right here in town. And like, we opened back in January, and things have been pretty pretty good. I mean, minus, you know, the whole COVID thing, having to throw a whole wrench into stuff, which actually contributes to why I'm uploading to YouTube now. It was doing pretty good, and we're still doing like decent enough, you know, I'm paying my bills and everything. But because of COVID, we can't like take walk-ins because, you know, we can't just have people walking into the shop and spreading their germs and shit. So we're on an appointment only basis now. So if we don't have appointments, I don't have to go to work. Like, I was supposed to go to work today. So with all this extra free time, because we can't take walk-ins, I mean, it's like the perfect time to get YouTube going again. But yeah, so that's a big reason why I wasn't uploading, was because we were preparing to open up a tattoo shop. So that's cool, right? That's pretty cool. On top of that, you might have noticed that maybe I look a little bit slimmer than I did in the last video that I uploaded. Let's do a side-by-side right now of me in this video and then me in, I think it was the shiny video. I put that up, and like, I've lost a lot of weight. I've lost 25 pounds doing keto, and I'm currently trying to find some form of exercise that I don't fucking hate, to kind of keep that ball rolling, because things are starting to plateau a little bit with just the dietary weight loss. I mean, yeah, 25 pounds down, and I really want to get like another 25 down, because I'm kind of a short guy, so like my good weight would be anywhere from 160 to 180, somewhere in there. I mean, that's the goal, and yeah, I'm trying to find some form of exercise that I want to do. I'm thinking pogo sticking. That sounds crazy, but you know, pogo sticking is actually a really good workout, and they have like adult pogo sticks that are super cool that like the pros that do like extreme sports use. So I'm looking into trying to get one of those. And I think that's gonna be my chosen form of exercise. It'll be a little weird, but I'm really excited to at some point be able to do that. But for now, I'm just sticking to the keto, and I give myself a cheat day here and there to kind of mix it up for my metabolism. But for the most part, like I'm sticking to the keto, and I'm doing really good. And yeah, I don't know, man. I feel better in terms of my mental health, and especially compared to how I was last year, because that was bad. You know, I feel better, like health wise. Like, I stopped smoking. I'm vaping again. Oh my God, I picked up smoking again after all that shit went down. And obviously, one, it was cutting into my expenses because smoking is fucking expensive, dude. But also, like, I felt like crap, and obviously it's not healthy. Don't smoke. Do not smoke. But yeah, I picked up vaping again, and I feel a lot better because of that, and then the keto, and then the just being in a better place now. Like, I feel good. And so with the tattoo shop in place and this weird irregular schedule that I have there, and lots of free time now, I want to work more on YouTube. I don't want to necessarily upload on a schedule, because having that guideline, I don't do well with guidelines. It's just not my thing. I don't work well with structure. It's just kind of who I am as a person. So I'm not gonna say that like I'm gonna upload once a week. I would like to upload once at least every 2 weeks, but I think really what it's gonna boil down to is I'll just always have like a video in the works, and it'll just come out when it comes out. Especially since like I can't really have a set schedule because of work, because we can only take appointments, we can't take walk-ins. So it's not like a, you know, show up at noon, leave home at 7 every day kind of thing like a normal job would. Because if we don't have appointments, then it just costs us money to be open. So if we don't have appointments, then we just don't go there. We don't be there. So lots of free time means extra time that I could be uploading to YouTube, but because it's such a weird schedule, I can't have a set schedule on YouTube. Once the views on YouTube kind of start to roll back in too, I'm thinking about streaming, and right now I stream on Twitch. I'll do it right now. I'm off from streaming on Twitch so that I can focus on this for a little bit. But once the views start coming back, I do want to start streaming again. It might be on Twitch, so go follow me there, but I have contemplated streaming on YouTube. As much as I hate the streaming setup on YouTube and chat sucking on YouTube, I've contemplated it, so just know that that's like kind of on the table for me. Yeah, eventually streams will come back But for now, it's just I'll go to work whenever we have appointments, and when I'm at home, I will work on videos when I can. I'm still going to try to keep some semblance of a social life as best I can during all this COVID stuff. That's why I was gone. That's where I've been. That's kind of the plans going forward from here. So thank you for watching. Again, this was really sad. But just know that I am better. And again, seriously, I'm going to say it like a third time. Do not reach out to my former significant other if you know who it is. If you know who it is, don't say anything to them. Do not. It's fine. We're good now. Everything's fine. We're good. I'm good. And it's kind of nice to be back. It's kind of nice to just be able to just sit here and talk at my computer and then edit my talking at my computer into something that people might want to watch. So yeah, but anyway, I've rambled for too long. I doubt there's going to be very much editing in this video, but so there you go. I'll catch you guys, I don't know, whenever my next video comes out. I don't know when that'll be, but thank you for watching, seriously.